Sub versus dub. This has been an argument ever since the beginning of time for anime, and as a person who watches anime in both sub and dub, I'm not biased towards any side in this argument, and I'm not the type of person to think that every single anime and sub is better than dub. But we're just gonna keep it real. The Japanese voice acting is way better, like most of the time. I don't have any statistical facts or data on this, but I think 95% of the sub anime are voiced better than the dub anime. If you have ever watched anime before, you would know this. Even the people who watches anime and dub deep down knows this. And this is mainly because Japanese people take voice acting very seriously. They even have a voice acting school for people to go in, try out, and learn. While in America or any other part of the world really, all the voice actor has to do is sound like the character and they get the job. When was the last time you have ever heard bad voice acting in sub? That's why when these voice actors try to speak English,
I love sushi.
which is not their native language by the way, and even then it doesn't even sound too bad at all except for this one.
I'll pound the living shit out of you, you dumbass freaky tourist.
The difference in voice acting is just too immense. I have watched a lot of anime and there are only a few handful of shows that I can think of that does the English voice acting very well, even better than the Japanese in my opinion. The first is Dragon Ball. All of the characters in this show are voiced very well in English, especially Sean. Every time he screams, it actually shows passion and excitement. When he screams, it doesn't seem like he's just there for a check. When Sean screams with Goku, it just hits different from how the Japanese does it. And the Japanese voice isn't bad at all, but Goku's dub version is just on another level. The whole entire dub cast for Dragon Ball is great. Every voice actor plays their role for the characters very well. I'm not that big of a fan of Dragon Ball Super, mainly because of the many problems that it has. From the power scaling, the characters making no sense sometimes, the stupidity of the characters. I can list a lot more. And these issues make Dragon Ball Super unbelievably hard for me to watch to the point where I had to switch to the manga. But when I watched the dub version for Super, I was able to finish the Tournament of Power arc. Granted, I had to skip a lot of the episodes, but I still finished it all the way through. It just seems like all of the voice actor in the dub version really enjoys Dragon Ball as a whole, and they understand the character's personality and they can play the characters very well. And I think this is what makes the acting so great in Dragon Ball. The second show I really enjoy in dub is Black Clover. And if you guys have watched my content before, you would know that I hate Asta's voice in sub. Yeah, I can't take it. There's certain voices out there in sub that I can't handle to where I have to switch to the dub version. And the dub version sounds way better. Black Clover is one of them. I don't know if it's because Japanese isn't my native language or I wasn't raised there, but whenever I hear that voice, it's so unbearable. And one final show that I can think of is Hellsing Ultimate. Alucard is just voiced so well in the dub version. Everything from the voice, the tone of the voice, the way that the voice actor says things just seems to fit the characters very well. It's super sadistic, scary, sexual, evil. Just like Dragon Ball, the whole cast of this show is voiced very well in dub, especially Alucard. That is 3 dub anime that I can think of that's better than the sub version, in my opinion at least. Meanwhile, I can name so many more shows that are better voiced in sub, but just because sub voice acting is 5 times better than the dub acting doesn't mean it's better overall. As a person who watches dub more than sub, I have many reasons why I watch the dub version more. One, you have to read every single word on the screen. Now when I watch anime, I like to not pay attention to the show all the time, and I also like the shows where the dialogue is good. As much as I like watching dudes beating up each other, I like to watch shows that has interesting dialogue even more. I want to hear some complex, interesting things from the characters when they're talking, because that makes a more fun and interesting story for me. If you have watched anime and sub ever before, you would know that the moment you itch your eye or pick up a phone call, you would have to rewind back in time to see what the character is saying. Because if you miss one sentence, you would not understand anything for the rest of the story. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but my point is, I don't want to have to go back and watch it again when I miss something. I like to watch anime when I'm making my video or doing whatever else I'm doing, probably masturbating. Look, what I'm trying to say is I'm not gonna sit there and stare at the screen and read every single subtitle for like 2 to 3 hours straight. It's not happening. And sometimes when there's more than one character talking, there's gonna be a subtitle at the top as well, and I'm not a fast reader, and I also don't want to have to go back. It's annoying. But I want to watch anime and multitask. The second reason is finding good subtitles. Now this is not a big problem for some people, but as a person who doesn't have any money, I don't have a Crunchyroll subscription, so sometimes the sub can be so bad for an episode I have to go through all the trenches, through all of the ads to find a good sub episode. It can honestly sometimes be annoying, and it really just makes me want to pay for a Crunchyroll subscription. But the problem with that is if I want to watch a show like Bleach, I still can't. And if I'm paying for a specific anime service, you bet your ass I will be able to watch the shows that I want. Crunchyroll is the reason why I sailed the seas and pirate. The third reason is the dub voice acting ain't that bad. I know the sub voice acting is way better, but I still don't think the dub's acting is that bad. Some people hate the dub's acting so much, wherever they hear dub, they don't want to watch the show anymore. But I don't think the dub is that bad at all. It's definitely definitely better than me sitting there staring at the screen non-stop. I would rather sacrifice the better voice acting if I could just do whatever I want while I watch anime in the background. And even with the dub, you will still be able to understand the character's personality and what the story is about. Maybe because I've watched so much anime at this point, I don't care what the character sounds like as long as I can understand what they're saying. That could be it. I used to be one of those people who hate dub anime, and I would not be able to sit through an episode of anime and dub. But now I'm just chilling. Fourth is certain shows don't require you to look at the screen constantly. And this point kind of ties with the first point that I made earlier. A lot of the anime that I watch now really don't require me to look at the animation most of the time. If I'm watching a show like Mushi's Next Passage or most of the rom-com shows for a matter of fact, I just need to listen to what the characters has to say and I'll be fine. Even with some of the fighting shows like Naruto, Jujutsu Kaisen, Vinland Saga, you honestly don't need to pay attention to what the character is doing half of the time, because there's a decent amount of dialogue in these shows, especially when Naruto's doing his talk no jutsu. I don't know, my attention span is short from all the TikTok videos I be watching. I lied, I don't watch TikTok, the app is god awful. Or it's just the fact that I don't care anymore. Even with this kind of voice acting,
We will go to defend the boat by all means.
I would still continue to watch the dub anime. The fifth reason is time management. As you guys know, I watch anime obviously. I run a strictly anime YouTube channel at this point. I don't have all the time in the world to watch most of the shows, and the dub version gives me a leeway of saving time. By releasing the episodes slower than the sub, I could go from skipping 2 weeks worth of shows and still be able to keep up with what's happening with the shows, just because the dub releases the episodes slower. As much as a degenerate that I am, I still don't have an infinite amount of time to watch anime, alright? I can read manhwas, read mangas, or doing whatever else I'm doing. I wish I had all the time in the world to watch anime, but I don't. And watching dub anime helps keeps me up to date with the shows that I want to watch. And the final reason is sometimes I'm just too lazy to read the subtitles. Like literally, sometimes I just want to chill and listen. This is not me wanting to multitask. This is not me having bad subtitles. This is not me thinking that the sub is better. This is just me being too lazy to read the subtitles. Sometimes I just don't feel like reading. Call me an idiot if you want. This is not me wanting to read. Sometimes I just want to stare at the screen, watch the shows that I want to watch. I don't care that the expression of the character is better or not. I just don't want to read because I'm lazy. Now, with all the reasons I have listed, which do I think is better, sub or dub? If I understood the Japanese language, I will 100% say that the sub is better, because the problems that I've just listed will be gone. The Japanese voice acting is better and I don't have to read the subtitles. So that's a win-win for me. But since I don't understand Japanese, I will have to say that the dub is a little better for me. I can stand the worst of acting as long as I can multitask. I only really watch the sub anime when it's a fighting anime, because those type of show forces me to look and stare at the screen. But with my opinion aside, overall I think the general opinion is that the sub is better. I really don't think the average anime watcher cares that much about staring at the screen. In fact, it's probably better you watch every single animation on the screen anyways, because you get to see the character's face expression, personality, and all that. But in the end, it really doesn't matter which is better. Both of the sub and dub has pros and cons to them. The only thing that really matters is if you, the person who's watching the show, enjoys it or not. I have never really understood the sub versus dub thing at all, because in the end, we all are trying to just watch some animated titties bounce. The story, the character development, and the personality doesn't really change at all, whether you watch it in sub or dub. So just watch whatever language you enjoy. That's the most important part, because in the end, we all enjoy anime anyways. It's not like once you watch the dub, you can't ever talk about a show or a character in a certain show. It's legit the same. Look, what I'm trying to say is, who the fuck cares what you watch?
I'll pound the living shit out of you, you dumbass freaky tourist.